Alright, good day everyone, and welcome back to ICBM Escalation, this time for Operation Condor. Basically, the situation is South America is full of some ugly dictatorships that the Soviet Union is now trying to throw out. And we're now conveniently forgetting that we backed them at one point and are counter-invading in order to throw out both the communists and the juntas in order to impose what I'm sure will be pro-American democracies. Yes. So, I've done a quick inventory of our forces and the challenges facing us, and here is what I'm thinking. But first, an observation from a tech sense. It's clear that my strategy of focusing on a couple of areas is paying dividends, but also carrying with it costs. Even before spying on the Soviets, effectively, I've already seen there's a bunch of technologies which they have that I don't, so I'm going to try and steal as many of them as possible. We are, compared to our other techs, maybe 3 tiers behind when it comes to nukes, 3 tiers behind when it comes to ballistic missiles. But I really don't care because my conventional forces, my ground forces are pretty good. We got Bradleys. But where I'm really succeeding so far is the Air Force. The Air Force is in great nick, and we're going to get them some new munitions to operate with. So that's where we are from a tech sense. Strategically, what have we got? We have 5 submarines, 5 attack boats, 3 carriers, 2 small naval groups and 1 carrier by itself, the Nimitz. 2 of which are on the west coast of the US, 1 of which is much closer. We have a bunch of divisions. Some of them are in landing ships with the John F. Kennedy's group, or actually no, we have 4 carriers. The Enterprise, the Big E, is down here, and it has landing forces of its own, as well as escorting destroyers and a cruiser. So, and a bunch of air bases, a bunch of air assets. What I think we need to do, if we look at this continent, as well as destroying these black sites, is the important dynamic I've identified is the Soviet collaborators and the Soviets are also at war with the Condor coalition. So we're both at war with Green, the juntas. So I don't actually want to immediately go straight bash into the Condor coalition because it's more efficient to let them use their military assets fighting each other. So at the start of the game, the Enterprise is being sent towards Chile. I've rerouted it south. My intention is to set up basically 3 submarine cordons, because there's 2 ways that the Soviets might presumably send reinforcements. One is from the Baltic and the northern fleets down towards the east coast. The other would be from Vladivostok towards the west coast. I want submarines off the coast of Chile. I want submarines in the Atlantic to monitor Soviet shipments across the Atlantic to the east coast. And I want submarines available to support my fleet. To that end, we're going to build the research center first, and I'm actually going to build a unit. I'm going to build an extra attack submarine, might even build 1 more. My plan, essentially, is to throw out what the game seems to be implying, which is early landings against the Condor coalition, and instead, we're going to follow an East Coast first strategy for 2 reasons. 1, the Soviet collaborators are on the East Coast, and they're a better target, and 2, if I land in these regions, once I assume the Soviets are going to invade up here, if we take this, land our 2nd landing force down here, fly in additional reinforcements, we can then push relatively quickly towards this province here, southeast Brazil, which is where the population is. This is Sao Paulo, this is Rio. There's more than 30 million people in those 2 cities. Total population 40 million for the province, which means its economic value is going to be massive, and the time to occupy it will also be huge. I reckon a city of like Sao Paulo, to occupy it and then assimilate it might take half an hour, and we have 100 minutes on the clock with the bonus objective. So East Coast first, land here, fly in additional reinforcements from the States, I'll talk about that in a sec, pincer in on southeast Brazil, and then push across the continent to the west, Chile last, basically. That's my thinking before anything plays out. We'll use Black Ops to destroy 3 of the black sites. I want to go for this one, and probably bring these guys down to destroy this one. That leaves this site and this site for bombers firing cruise missiles, probably. They're also further away from the communists, so we have more time to destroy them, I imagine. The highest priority one would probably be, I might bring these guys north, so we have even more options for this one. This is probably the highest priority black site because it's closest to the communist forces that are down in southern Argentina. So that's my thinking. Logistically, what I'm going to do is I have a huge amount of divisions in the continental United States. I'm going to fly them all to Puerto Rico because a transport aircraft from Puerto Rico can get divisions a fair way into South America because I've got the first upgrade to the transport aircraft. So we can take provinces like the Amazonas, sure, but we can also reinforce our initial beachheads up here in northern Brazil in order to get the forces we need in place. Can get divisions a fair way into South America because I've got the first upgrade to the transport aircraft. So we can take provinces like the Amazonas, sure, but we can also reinforce our initial beachheads up here in northern Brazil in order to get the forces we need in place. In terms of reinforcements, extra punch, I'm going to add to the Kennedy group. It doesn't have a resupply ship, so we'll add to the Kennedy group a resupply ship, an extra destroyer, and an extra cruiser. I'm also going to do my thing where I de-group them. Normally in the game, ships spread out, both that allow you to see them more easily, but also to avoid splash damage from nuclear weapons. But I'm going to clump them up because I prefer better sea whiz protection, and we're going to keep them further off the coast so we don't run into any Condor ships. Initial landing point, probably in this region, unless they take this area first, in which case we'll land here. And I'll also be transporting special operations teams from Conus to Puerto Rico using the Spec Ops helicopters that are at Fort Buchanan. I doubt these attack helicopters are going to be useful for anything, but you know, it is what it is. That's the initial plan. I'm also going to bring these naval groups down towards the Panama Canal, and if necessary, I'm going to route them around the East Coast too, and we're just going to do this big naval spin. I'll keep an eye on the Soviets. I wish I had more. The main deficit I'm feeling is subs, so I'll build at least one. And the other thing we'll do is we have our Blackbirds. I'll organise some recon flights both that way. And where's our other specialist airbase? Let's run the timer. The Soviets are ferrying troops to Brazil from Lithuania. Okay, so they are going to do this route. And we can seriously hurt their invasion if we interdict them. We also need our own foothold in South America, so we should mobilise troops at home and capture territory right away. The Enterprise is en route to the Chilean coast now. No, it isn't. I countermanded that. It's sailing south. It'll hook around, and it will eventually land in southern Argentina. Don't forget, we have to destroy the 5 intelligence centres quickly before the Soviets can prove we're involved. We will do that, but let's just see if there are any air defences here. If not, we'll order our first airstrikes. Soviet forces and their proxies have received authorizations to attack American forces on site. There's no point in pretending anymore, it's up to them. Okay, well, let's keep an eye out for that. The main thing I'm worried about is Soviet submarines. So I think I've got a patrol pattern out with the helicopters off the Kennedy. Okay, I think we're about to get our first black site. All right, evidence deleted. Let's not think too much about the moral implications of the idea that if you just bury the evidence, it never happened. Okay, I think we might have a sonar and torpedo range advantage here because I don't think K115 has seen us. Which is convenient because K115 is now gone. So let's take our submarine up north, join this, and that's a Soviet carrier group. Carrier Kiev. I'm guessing it's going to have subs with it, but if not, the Sturgeon's about to have a bloody fun time. 11 seconds till we have another one. Oh, there's a sub. Okay. Out of range, but we'll send 2 anti-submarine. This is why I held up this fleet here for a moment. Knew this sort of... okay. We'll send 2 anti-sub birds out. And as soon as this... let's recall that naval helicopter. Yeah, let's sink that, or prioritise sinking that, and then go from there. We're about to go for another black site. First Spec Ops team didn't make it. Hopefully the second one does, because that's the priority target. Extra submarine, route that out to the cordon. There's 2 attack boats, wonderful. That said, hopefully we have range on them with our helicopters. Come on, there we go. I think we've got the black site. Yeah, that looks good. All right, well, I think that Spec Ops team is well and truly done. But they'll go down fighting. They knew the risks. They did, in fact, sign up for this shit. Man, they're making a show of it with the man pads on the way out. Maybe they can blow up the airbase and actually survive. Okay, a short-range engagement between the Sturgeon and K-21. Let's bail out. Cool, another Soviet submarine down. Okay, I'm starting to get more confident with the idea of starting to get this naval force on the move. Let's route them down. Let's send the Sturgeon towards that carrier group. Looks like the bombers have taken care of these guys. But let's get better intel with the Spec Ops teams. And once those strategic bombers are back, we might launch airstrikes against this Air Force base, because when we start dropping troops, because we'll be able to fly from Puerto Rico and take this region by air, I think. So we'll have to use air power to eliminate Amazon Military Command and this Air Force base. And if we do that, landings might go better. But for the moment, I'd rather the Condors send most of their ground forces to fight this. Yeah, the Soviets aren't playing. Okay, I have 4 Spec Ops teams converging on this last black site. The facility can defend itself. So the bum rush is the approach. Done. Good work, we've destroyed all evidence of our involvement. The Soviets can accuse us all they want, but they cannot prove anything. I'm sure the propaganda cares about the actual evidence, but that's okay. The evidence is now gone. And we can feel as morally conflicted as we want about that. I think at least some reflection is a good idea. But let's route in additional bombers to take out this airbase. Spec Ops team can provide the recon necessary to support that. Then we'll use the high-speed bombers to destroy the ground base. Landing forces are on their way, and the first troops have started arriving in Puerto Rico. So we'll load them all into Fort Buchanan. And back home, more troops for the aerial shuttle. Okay, cruise missiles away. Looks like we lost 1 strategic bomber, but that neutralizes all their other fighters because they now have nowhere to land, which means we can safely now use GBUs to take out the base, and we'll bring in the high-speed bombers as well. Okay. Tense, but progress is being made. The Sturgeon's actually going to have to be a bit patient about its attack on the surface fleet because there is a hunter-killer sub with the Soviet fleet. And obviously we want to sink that first because it's a threat to the Sturgeon. Done. But that might give the ships time to make it to shore, we will see. Okay, first torpedoes are away targeting a Soviet cruiser. Clearly, this is not an American attack. They can't prove anything. This is a Condor submarine, which I'm sure do exist. I mean, the Condor even have apparently a carrier group of some kind, which is impressive. That'll be a kill. All right, now the carrier group is interested in figuring out what's going on. So we'll sink the destroyer as the ASW threat. Oh wait, no, they're interested in running. Okay, well, we'll stay in pursuit. I'm not sure if this submarine, these torpedoes have the range to make that shot. Oh, maybe. All right, not a kill, but that's okay. We'll take out the destroyer next. And hopefully we'll bag the Kiev itself. Okay, they may finally be onto the Sturgeon. ASW helicopters and extra Soviet submarine. Looks like we got the kill, but I'm not sure how the Sturgeon's going to go. Bugger. All right, well, we'll bring the Gatto up because this naval air group got to go. Although if we did nothing, it might run into these Condor air groups. So maybe we sort of shadow it. We did enough damage to it, I think. They'll have a tech advantage over Condor, obviously, but I'm kind of happy with them beating each other up a bit. Now the question is, do we land straight into the... I think we do. I think we come into the coast here. Hopefully the Kiev doesn't turn around. We do our initial landing with our Marines here, and then we bring airborne forces in further north. Do I want to fly in strat bombers to take out that army base? I think the Navy can handle it. The real question is going to be, once they get closer, will that Soviet naval group get close enough that I can actually deploy strategic bombers with cruise missiles to try and hunt it down? Because we've got the new air-launched cruise missile configuration now, which should have reasonable anti-shipping effectiveness, so maybe that's an option. All right, the Kennedy battle group is approaching the coastline. Their aircraft are no match for the SAM coverage of the fleet, which is a good thing. What have the Soviets occupied? Oh, they've moved inland. Okay. That's all right. We can deal with that. Let's get ourselves some awareness. Let's get recon on these cities, actually, because I don't want to drop the airborne into something that they have no idea of. We're not going to go with a market garden experience here. Let's get awareness of each of the LZs. And then once we're loaded up, as you can see, there is a small concentration of US divisions on Puerto Rico. But yeah, landing our first troops seems like a good idea now that we're sort of blowing things anyway by landing in Soviet allied territory. So we'll land 3 divisions and the combat engineers. And then 3 divisions, our other landing ship here. 3 divisions and the combat engineers. All right, Marines are going in. As are the cruise missiles. But the Marines can't complain about a lack of fire support here, that's for sure. I can't see where their fighters are coming from, so what we might do is might get 1 electronic warfare aircraft. Since they tend to have good radars, there we are. And why don't you fire some harm missiles while you're at it? Return to the Kennedy. There's a miss. That was unfortunate. Those are meant to specialise in taking out SAMs, but it's still a dangerous business. We'll land the combat engineers as well. Push in. I think we need to get out to Palmas as well in order to take this province, but that's okay. We'll get the other troops landed and then do it. The combat engineers should have some bases with them. Yeah, so a makeshift air base, a forward operating base, and a SAM site. Let's get the SAM site down, and let's get the FOB down. Welcome to South America. 1 division to Fortaleza, 1 division out to destroy that airbase, and another one to Teresina, and that group can then push and take Palmas. All right. Damn it. Okay, route them south. Looks clear in the LZs though, so as soon as I've got this landing under control, we'll send in our first paratroops. All right, as expected, while I'm doing my landing up north, which is so far doing great, we're pushing 2 divisions towards Palmas now. Let's get the carrier to assist. And let's get some SEAD on that mobile SAM in order to keep them safe. So yeah, while we're doing that, the Soviet fleet is engaging with its aircraft the air bases of the Condor Coalition, which is great. We have upgraded torpedoes, which is going to be important in a moment when we have to deal with this Soviet naval group. Let's just get the submarines grouped up together, and then we'll do a torpedo attack. I'm doing submarine midlife upgrades. It won't be ready in time, but I imagine will still be useful. Okay, air power doing its job. Strategic bombers from the continental United States clearing out this army base for when we start landing troops. Carrier aviation from the Kennedy about to destroy this base. Then we'll need to take out this division, which is currently in travel mode, although it looks like it's redeploying now. And then we'll concentrate 3 divisions on Palmas. We'll bring forward a forward operating base to repair them. And that should be us on our way to capture this region. And then from Puerto Rico, we'll throw in 1 more division to Boa Vista so we can start the conquest of the Amazon. And then I'm going to fly in divisions because it looks like the Soviets are pushing in. Let's start flying in forces to here as well so we can conquer this whole region, link it up, and start pushing south. Where's the Enterprise group? Let's bring the Enterprise group in because you'll want to land up here. They need to take 3 cities, which is going to be a bit of a challenge. The other option is to bring the Enterprise group up and go straight for Rio. For now, let's hedge that decision by moving to about there. It looks like there's some serious infrastructure here and a Soviet offensive ongoing, so we'll quickly dig our divisions in. Make sure they're not using any particularly spicy ammunition. Dig you in. Whoops. Shut that off. So we'll use the Kennedy to destroy these divisions to shield us there. We'll load more. As soon as the transport aircraft return to Puerto Rico, we can fly more troops in to take Belém and Macapa. How long until Palmas is occupied? 1 minute, so in 1 minute 51 we'll take this region, and then all of these divisions can cut south as we move towards our real objectives, Rio and Sao Paulo. Meanwhile, in the Atlantic, it's a tragedy. Condor submarines have managed to get in the way of a Soviet convoy. Tragic how that happens. Ooh, and those new Mark 48s. Not ADCAPs, unfortunately. That's the next tier. But good kills. Let's take the destroyers out, then we can deal with the landing ships. Bring the Barb over. Okay, that's probably enough submarines to kill that destroyer. That'll leave one in the group. Hunt the landing ships. With that, so carriers are great at hunting submarines. But without carrier support, destroyers seem to struggle. And I'm kind of okay with that. Destroyers don't have ASW helicopters. That's probably the big thing. If they did, it would be a different dynamic, but they don't. And so this is the world we're living in. Do we have more divisions loaded up in Puerto Rico? We will shortly. Fly one more in. Some more troops will get loaded. Okay, that'll be another region with the capture in progress. They're deploying spicy systems. That doesn't mean we have to. Air-to-ground missiles should do the job. Okay, apparently the Soviets didn't like that. The Soviets have authorized the use of tactical nuclear weapons. Things are about to get serious. Keep the situation under control. So the main nuclear threats here for tactical nukes, because they won't be flinging things from the homeland because that would be suicidal. We need to look out for cruisers with nuclear cruise missiles. We need to look out for submarines with nuclear torpedoes. And I'm not sure if the aircraft on the Kiev can deploy them too. So I think we need to sink that carrier group, which is currently attacking Rio and South. Yeah, okay, there we are. That looks like a tactical nuke used. Good work sinking the landing ships. We're seeing a lot of activity at the submarine base. Ekonomika. All right, so the Soviets aren't going to take that line down. So more Soviet submarines, exactly what I wanted. Amazing. Well, hopefully the tech advantage does what we need it to do. Oh, got another division we can fly out. I mean, we could fly that as far as down here, now that we've taken that region. So let's move down. We'll get this forward operating base picked up. Go to Salvador. These troops over. Oh wait, no, they need to finish conquering that first. I mean, liberating. 2 minutes 14. But we do have 3 divisions up north that we can potentially use. Looks like the Chilean army. Man, you're away from home, aren't you? Our bombers can handle that. But let's group these divisions up again. We'll bring in some combat engineers, give them a forward operating base. And then they can maybe move down to Mato Grosso, take that. And then we'll be well on our way. We've got time. We've got time. But I want to get to Rio. I decided to send Enterprise Big E up towards Rio and Sao Paulo because the Soviets are there. We're seeing tactical nukes deployed. And I don't want those cities to be hit. I don't want them to lose population. And I do want them contributing to our economy. In come the B-1s. I don't think anti-aircraft guns are going to work on this, mate. Beautiful amounts of damage with those GBUs. Another airbase that we'll be able to bring down here. We'll need to bring in another division if we want to get this province, but that's okay. I'm happy just taking out that airbase. Move south. Deploy a FOB. Maybe we bring that division over. If we reroute that division to there, and that division to there, that should give us what we need to take multiple provinces at the same time. It's all about efficiency here. We've also got another Soviet group on its way to Chile as expected. Not sure if the Skolpin will be able to sink them all, but it'll make a decent effort. Bring the Scamp up, send in the Gatto, and hopefully bag ourselves a Kiev. More tactical nukes, Soviet Union, really? And you're using against them the juntas. You're not even firing them against the US. Santiago, 20,000 casualties. Come on, Soviets. Okay, the Soviets are going absolutely ham. They're now nuking the junta's fleet, which is one way to deal with the problem, I guess. But we're going to bring in our submarines and put an end to the problem. Looks like we've now captured this region up here. So all these divisions just got freed up. So we'll march them down this way. We can link them up with these army divisions that are grouping up here. What have we got back in Puerto Rico? So what we'll need is we'll need a combat engineer for that southern force. And then we'll need some more regular divisions. So far, the logistics is working. Just, I'd like it to work faster. Primary target here is going to be... we're actually going to sink the... we're going to sink a junta submarine by mistake, even though it was going to stop the Soviet nuke boats. We'll do that too, don't worry, mate. But for our own safety, you need to be removed. Now, where are these ships actually? There they are. There's one destroyer. They're capturing Chile, but let's torpedo this cruiser. Submarine midlife is about to be finished. I'm going to keep the carriers as far away from their fleets as possible for the moment, because as you can see, they're a bit nuke happy. Submarine upgrades about to finish mid-torpedo engagement.
Research complete.
Amazing how the crews managed to pull that off. We're still in the early internet age, so nothing to upgrade in terms of the Navy. The ground forces could get javelins and assault rifles, so that we're no longer using the old M47 assault rifle that we stole in the Korean War. That might be an option. I think we'll go specialized precision AGMs, and then 4.5 generation aircraft. That'll be our next 11 minutes worth of research. Sink this destroyer. That's not quite enough submarines to sink the cruiser. Hopefully 6 torpedoes will sink a destroyer. There we are. They're certainly paying attention now. That landing ship still has a division on board, so that'd be a nice bag. But I think the greater priority is the Vladivostok and the Varyak. Come on, Gatto, get that carrier. Where is it? There it is. Should I risk launching an airstrike just to take them off the board? This is a risk. Do I want to wait for the submarine to catch up, or do I want to start a naval air group engagement? Whew, this is the question. Just then, the risk of civilian casualties if I don't take them out soon. Let's launch multi-rolls and see if we can get through. No, that's not going to work. It's going to turn into a giant furball. This has got to be a job for the sub. We would win that fight, but we wouldn't win that fight cleanly. And we're going to need those aircraft for other purposes. So let's torpedo this cruiser over here. We'll bring the scamp up. 2 submarines should be enough to do the job. Come on, US Navy. Okay, Gatto has caught up and is going to try and sink the Sevastopol. I can't see the Kyiv at the moment. That's a province occupied. We'll worry about that in a moment. But there we are. You and your nuclear-tipped cruise missiles get to go to the bottom of the ocean. We'll fly 1 reconnaissance sortie out this way. But I can't see the Kyiv. So either we already sunk her without me noticing, or she's missing. Ah, it's a lot of AA. That's a lot of orange. Will also be fun. Let's clean this up and then go from there. I've got troops marching south. We'll bring the Spec Ops team south as well, because, you know, more recon never hurts. We'll need to divert. What will need to happen is 1 division will need to go here, and these 3 will need to move west, clear this army base, and take La Paz. Okay, so apparently we have a division labeled Brazilian Division and Argentine Division, both working alongside each other to defend this location. So all it takes to get the Brazilians and Argentinians to work together is to have the Americans and Soviets invading both their dictatorships at the same time. Let's route carrier aviation over with our next generation air-to-ground missiles. We're landing troops at Sao Paulo, Rio, and also down here. How many cities in this province? We need to take these ones as well, no problem. Route you out that way. And then we'll need one spare unit to get down here, which we can do because there are troops coming down here. We only need one for Campo Grande, so we'll divert one like that. And that should be a pretty efficient pattern of occupation. Bugger. Okay, so the Soviets have just popped two provinces in very short order, northern Argentina and Chile. So it's clear we're going to have, it's bifurcating, right? We're going to have the American liberated east and northeast, and then we're going to have to move into Argentina and Chile. But they don't have their ships. And without their ships, I feel like I have a much better handle on the situation. There is another Soviet fleet, but you know what? We still have Barb and our other attack submarine. So come at me, bro. Okay, lots of things happening in parallel. Started my invasion of Chile. There are Soviet divisions present, but that's okay. The combat engineers deploying a makeshift airbase and some SAM coverage as we try and take out this airbase. We're beyond the range of air cover from the continental United States at this point. We're also preparing to intercept another Soviet reinforcement group, and 4.5 generation aircraft is 20 seconds away. Now, this is not as fundamental as you know. This is taking existing 4th gen airframes and going up block numbers, new features, new electronics, new avionics, new features. So it's improving performance across the board, but it's not going to be as much of an uplift as 4th was from 3rd, or that 5th will be from 4th. So this is not the most dramatic upgrade in the game, but it is something. It'll instantly affect our carrier air wings, which I'm happy with. Are we missing an able helicopter? We are. So once we take this territory, we can reinforce. Sao Paulo is going to take another 16 minutes to conquer. Rio, another 6. But these provinces up here have been assimilated and are now contributing to the economy. So we're researching faster. That's still assimilating, and that's still assimilating. Let's see how quickly we can get Chile rolled up. But there's a lot of assets down there. So these naval groups with their missiles and fighters are going to be important. I'm definitely going to need these extra 2 carriers. Just need to make sure no Soviets with any pesky nuclear torps get close to them. That's a lot of divisions. I've destroyed a bunch, but there's a lot of Soviet air cover in this area as well. So I'll repair up, bring the forward operating force forward, regenerate a little bit. I'll check where that was. And then we're going to punch south and try and find that airbase, destroy it, and take northern Argentina. Oh great, the Soviets are deploying gas and tactical nuclear artillery for their divisions, which is not an instant kill, but it's increasing their power a lot. Luckily, we have a generation of armoured vehicles on them. We've got better small arms. So I'm hoping that numbers plus tech in other areas is going to... The nukes are making it harder, though. The fact that they're willing to throw nuclear weapons at us, definitely making things harder. But this group is fully regenerated. So we'll have one division, probably this one, stay around here. Load up that forward operating base and get ready to push in. Let's unit link up here, and then let's push a nice big invasion group straight through there. Brave, mate, but foolish. Okay, Soviet artillery nukes are continuing to rain down, but I think we've got just enough conventional firepower to bring them down. They're taking all the weapons of mass destruction and applying them to the problem. But artillery shells, you got to remember, each division represents like a large formation. So yes, you're completely destroying something, but a single artillery shell against the dispersed division in the open, not really going to be devastating. So let's start occupying this province. Let's hunt for wherever the airbase is. Maybe not you, you're very damaged, so you need the forward operating base to heal you. Combat engineers deploying the FOB. I'm researching early tactical optics so that my divisions can see further, so I can find these air bases more readily. That army division is going to be a problem. So I think we just fall back, we deploy SAMs and FOBs and a makeshift air base instead, since that'll launch fighters. Group up around there, and then only push when we're ready. You need to retreat, and you need to come in and save him. You need to drop a FOB and a makeshift airbase. But at least we've taken this area, which means all these divisions just got freed up. Oh, okay. Conventional v nuclear is hard, but we're making it work. All right, another large-scale land battle. Luckily, it's only the Soviet divisions that get nuclear artillery, not the Soviet allies. So what I'm trying to do here is take out a couple of divisions and then pull back, because they have air cover. I think it's worth picking off this division here with some airstrikes. And there's a mobile SAM out that way, so we'll launch the Growlers. Fantastic. Looks like there's an airbase out that way. They've got lots of air bases, so do I risk... I'm spending my multi-rolls pretty quickly. Do I risk multi-rolls on that airbase? Given the pressure some of our other locations are on, maybe taking out any airbase is worth it. I think we do that. Launch the Hornets. And we'll move the actual fleets themselves down. Then launch it, actually. We'll move them into this sort of area and maybe even get the cruise missiles in range. How are these divisions going? Health-wise, some of them are looking a bit rough around the edges. So we'll pick off one more and then probably pull back towards our FOB. Actually, you know what? Let's just pull back quickly. No reason to rush this. We have a FOB. Heal up and re-engage. And let's bring some reinforcements over. Nice big armoured fist. Except for this guy who trenches here and takes over that settlement. Okay, alright. You let a landing ship past? Very embarrassing, guys.
Destroyed.
Very embarrassing. That's right, the bombers will handle it. Like I said, strategic bombers will take care of it. That's a whole bunch of JDAMs. If they can hit it. Come on. This is embarrassing, guys. To be fair, strategic bombers with GBUs are probably not great weapons to be using against ships. I should probably have swapped them over to cruise missiles. But we're getting there. Okay, the fight is very much on. What I'm thinking I might do is get Nimitz and Kitty Hawk to launch airstrikes on these air bases, because they're inflicting a lot of damage on my advancing troops.
Ship sunk.
Where do we just lose a resupply ship? Down here. Looks like we've got... We need to destroy that army base, because those attack helicopters are responsible, I think. Big E is doing damage. Multi-rolls are doing their best. Okay. Nimitz and Kitty Hawk have taken out Airbase 1. Let's take out Airbase 2, and let's launch Wild Weasels. Great. Okay, those air bases are gone. Should be in a much better position now. So these aircraft will hopefully land. And by land, I mean run out of fuel and die. What is under siege? We've taken this territory. Oh, there we are. Okay. Well, he's still in transport mode, so hopefully we're in an okay position. Let's pick up that forward operating base, load that over here, because those units will need regeneration. How long until this province is captured? You're not occupied because you're on the wrong side of the border. Bloody, okay, all right. The schedule can accommodate, just I'm not happy about it. Buenos Aires being occupied, troops routing down this way. Let's route in multi-rolls. because that division is pretty beat up, so they could use the help. One of the great advantages of the aircraft upgrades of all things is actually range. The increased range is giving me a huge amount of freedom, and it's taken it from a situation where I think carriers work best as shore bombardment to really cruisers work best to one where I really see the utility of the carriers. Come down this way. No special weapons, thank you. And we'll need you to come down and take that, because otherwise the rest of this will not fall. You're dropping that fob, you're going to regenerate these divisions, and then guess who's punching into Chile? This armoured fist here. We'll pair it up with troops coming in from the south. Combat engineers coming in to drop a fob there. So let's bring these guys over. And they can regenerate here, group up. And then go from there. We've got the numbers. Rather than go head-to-head with these Soviet divisions of volunteers that obviously have their nuclear weapons and would be willing to use them, we're just going to bombard them out of existence using Hornets. Blast them with Mavericks and JDAMs, then roll the divisions in order to start pushing them out of southern Argentina, Chile, those provinces, etc. I do not want to risk more nuclear contamination of the local environment. I do not want to risk civilian casualties. So precision airstrikes, I think, the way to go. And then bring the fob up and the troops behind it. And then roll south. And here's about to be a big boost. Sao Paulo is about to fall, or rather be liberated from the junta. And there we go, Southeast Brazil occupied. In 9 minutes 57 seconds, it'll start contributing GDP. And in the interim, that's 5 more divisions for the armoured fist that is punching its way south. Okay, I think I have troops on all remaining cities belonging to the Soviet sympathisers. Santiago in 1 minute, which will be Chile. Oh no, I'm missing a city. How? I moved one too many divisions away. All right, that's going to cost me some time and some efficiency. That's okay. It is annoying, however. We have taken southern Argentina, and Argentina proper, central Argentina, will go in 7 minutes 47 with the fall of Buenos Aires. That'll leave just Montevideo, which of course we'll string Congress along for a little while because I've got some research to do. I'm doing simulated physics modelling at the moment. Advances in computer technology allow for better performance in increasingly complex programs, passively increases research speed. Then we'll grab cyber warfare for even better spying, because we still haven't stolen the bloody radar tech from the Soviets, but you know, I need to catch up. I've defunded my missile and nuclear program, guys, so you need to help me out here. And to do that, a little bit of cyber warfare, a little 1970s cyber warfare should do just the trick. Not sure what we're hacking, given the state of Soviet computer systems in the 70s, but you know, we'll do what we can. All right, we now have 32 minutes to run the clock. We've completed cyber warfare. I'm just telling Congress that I need to be very cautious about this invasion of Uruguay. You know, who knows what they have waiting for us. There might be minefields, there might be radiation patches from Soviet nuclear weapons. I just need some time to prepare, okay? So double the military budget, and I will filter it into a whole bunch of stuff. Advanced missile guidance would be interesting because we're unlocking this stuff. But let's get the army caught up. Let's get armored midlife upgrades, which is like Leopard 2A5 or introducing Abrams. We'll get improved ceramic armor, that's 10 minutes. Advanced warship armaments. Hard to say no to a ship upgrade, 19 minutes. Got all the domestic technologies. Advanced chaff and decoys. Stealth bombers. B-2 Spirits takes us to 29 minutes. 3226 for high efficiency airframes, transportation. Okay, I like that. We'll still be a little bit, we won't have pushed the missile technology as far, but until we get to network age, we can't do upgrades in terms of advanced standoff munitions. So this is like naval strike missile, this is BrahMos, this is what we're starting to see now in the 21st century. Whereas this is like Tomahawk, this is 90s. This is small diameter bomb and JAGM. So this is current generation here, network age. Yeah, because 5th generation is here, 6th generation is future, and B-21 Raider is in advanced stealth bombs. Okay, I'll take that. So we'll get improved ceramic armor, advanced warship armaments, advanced chaff and decoys, stealth technology, stealth bombers, and high efficiency airframes. Might want advanced submarines too, and advanced sonar. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to fit them in. So do I want to sacrifice stealth bombers in order to get better submarines? Maybe I'll buy them with the upgrades between the missions. Let's see. Anyway, I'll run the clock for a bit. Well, it wasn't the radar I was trying to steal, but at least our nuclear program is staying up to date. We stole high-power rocket designs from the Soviets, so like I said, our zero investment in nukes and missile strategy is working okay, as long as we can keep the technology theft going. I'd really like those phased arrays so we could upgrade our radar tech. I don't want to have to do it myself, but anyway. We're researching advanced sonar, and I'm hoping I can fit CRAM in before the end. Just got to time this last capture correctly. Congress is running out of patience, you see. But I want them to get fund CRAM before it goes. This is CWIS for ground divisions. So air bases, army divisions, combat engineers, FOBs, they all gain the same ability ships do to shoot down incoming missiles and artillery shells. So it's not perfect, but it's a great defensive upgrade, and I'd love to take it into the next mission if we can. And there we go. I got CRAM in, didn't get phased array radar, nor did I get to steal it, but there we go. Well, that looks pretty conclusive to me. All the juntas have been ousted, the communists are going back into hiding, and the Soviets are pulling back. Now the CIA can clean up the mess they made, and democracy in South America can get a fresh start. You've turned this embarrassment into a decisive victory. Outstanding work, Commander. And in terms of tech, we pushed the boundaries fairly well, and we've just got into the network age. Just. Which gives me an idea. Mission accomplished. You've stopped the communists from taking... I'd say we did more than that. Total casualties, 350,000. Oof. Oof. I guess continent-wide, but I didn't use any... Yeah, anyway. That's hard. But the entire continent is now flipped. So let's see how many points we have going into the next mission. 2,724. And I believe the next mission is Able Archer. So I'm thinking punch up with the Soviets. So, if we're going to be able to send tech to our allies, because I presume NATO will be in this one should be the big war scenario. So what do we need for a big war scenario punch up with the Soviets? 5th generation aircraft. F-22 Raptors, F-35s. Let's do it. Add stealth technology to combat aircraft, making them much more difficult to find and engage. What if NATO had F-22 and F-35 in service in time for a big punch-up with the Soviets? We're about to find out. We'll grab high-efficiency airframes, because I presume we'll have to fly troops from the United States. Do we want advanced attack helicopters? Let's see what else we need first. Advanced submarines would be good. This will be, let's, field top-tier submarines, like Virginias and whatnot. I'm liking this. We're in a really good position here. We'll grab the fire and forget radar guided air-to-air missiles because we're otherwise behind. We've got CRAM. Looks like the game took pity on me and gave me those radar techs because I was so horribly behind, which is kind of funny. Advanced underwater weapons is interesting. Do I want ADCAP torpedoes? ADCAPs is an interesting option, assuming there's going to be Soviet submarines out there. Let's go. So what's the real trade-off here is that we get to pick 2 out of 3. Real-time HD satellites, which I think is a yes, for more intel. And then advanced missile guidance or advanced underwater weapons, the ADCAP torpedoes. In terms of what's going to give us more immediate benefit, it's going to be the ADCAPs, and then we can get advanced missile guidance during the mission. We're robbing the army of the ability to take like advanced night vision or weapon upgrades. Like we're not switching everyone over to like fully kitted out Gucci M4 platforms or 416s with optics and whatnot. We're cheating them of that, and we're not giving them advanced CBR. Oh, this is a bit of a CBRN deficit. This is a bit of a CBRN deficit, but there's nothing I'm willing to give up in order to get this sooner. So we'll just have to research it very quickly or steal it from the Soviets. All right, 44 points left over. What can we get for 44 points? Not much. Not much at all. I'm thinking it's as simple as we just load up with extra multi-role attackers. Let's go to an extra stealth bomber, 6 extra multi-role attackers, a strategic bomber, because we will lose aircraft. So we'll take 6 extra F-35s and a strategic bomber, 5th gen upgrade, high efficiency transports, advanced submarines, fire and forget, basic guided missiles. Because it'd be really funny. Raptor flying around with like 1st generation air-to-air missiles would be funny, but let's at least give them like AMRAAM. Advanced chaff and decoys, real-time high-definition satellites, advanced underwater weapons. And then let's see what we got. Able Archer. In preparation for a potential Soviet attack leading up to a nuclear war, the Able Archer training exercise is held across NATO to increase wartime readiness and improve interoperability. Able Archer 43 introduced new elements to make it more immersive and realistic. This had the unfortunate consequence of convincing the Warsaw Pact that NATO was planning a surprise attack, leading them to preemptively invade West Germany with their nuclear forces on high alert. So it's a conventional invasion at the moment. While NATO's European members hold back the onslaught, Canadian-American reinforcements must rush overseas to the front lines, while the US also weighs its options on how hard and how far it can push the Soviets back, while a diplomatic solution is worked out, or without escalating beyond the point of no return. Primary. Recapture all NATO countries when the time runs out in 60. Do not let NATO take more than 5 million civilian casualties. Note there's no rule there about Warsaw Pact civilian casualties, but we'll keep those low too. Secondary mission. Capture and hold East Germany, capture and hold Poland, capture all the other non-Warsaw Pact nations. Okay, small order of business. And here we are. Able Archer.